And welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I'm Michael DeLon, and today I am talking with Mary Henderson. Mary, thanks for squeezing me into your calendar.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me, Michael.
You are so welcome. It's fun. Once in a while, you will talk with somebody that you just kind of start bonding with. And I think that's Mary and me, because we think alike in a lot of ways. And even though she's on the other side of the world, it doesn't matter because we are bonding already. And I can't wait, Mary, for you to share with our audience what you do and why it's so important around brand strategy and becoming an expert in your field and all of those types of things that I talk about a lot, but from a different angle. So I can't wait for you to share. So as we get into that, tell us, first of all, Mary, how in the world did you get to doing what you do today?
Well, I'll tell you, Michael, it was a very long journey to get to where I am now. But for me, personal branding actually started in year 2000. So 23 years ago, when personal branding was not sexy, no one was talking about, no one was using that language, if you will. But for me, I became quite successful in my career around 2000, 2005 in the tech industry.
Okay.
And I got this amazing job with a big international tech company. And on the first day of my job, my boss said to me, Mary, you've got the good news and bad news. The good news is you've got an opportunity of a lifetime. The bad news is you got 12 weeks to fix a really big problem. And here I am thinking 12 weeks, like, where is she going? Anyway, so I had a meeting with the client, and the decision maker didn't show up to my meeting. All of her colleagues showed up, but she didn't show up. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I've got 12 weeks to fix this problem. And she's not, and the decision maker is not even in this meeting. So as I'm leaving the meeting and getting into the lift, there's a woman in the lift. I'm wearing red snakeskin boots. Okay. And this is an important part to the story.
Okay.
And so I'm in the lift and she's checking me up and down. I can feel the daggers on my back. And she's like, where did you get those red boots from? And I looked at it, and intuitively I knew it was the woman that was supposed to be in my meeting. And so I said, are you such and such? She said, yes. I said, well, you were supposed to be in my meeting. She said, well, why would I be in your meeting when we're pulling all of our business away from you? Basically, you guys can't deliver, so it's over. And I said, oh, no. Are you going downstairs to have lunch? And she's like, yes. And I said to her, please just give me 5 minutes of your time. And she's like, okay, well, that's not going to do any harm. So we go downstairs, we have a coffee. And she said, look, Mary, 3 people before you have not been able to solve this problem. I said to her, I'm a problem solver. I know how to do this. I'm a systems person. I think like that. So she said, what do you need? I said, I need 12 weeks. I need to sit with your operations team and let me fix the problem. If on 12 weeks and 1 day, I don't fix the problem, I said, you can remove us. And she said, okay, it's a deal. But I left that meeting, Michael, and 2 things happened. One is I recognized in that moment, I can either go and be like everybody else, or my desire and my will is to fix this problem and then position myself as the brand in this industry that can fix complex problems. I wanted to be known for that. And the second thing is, and as crazy as this sounds, I recognize that the conversation starter were my boots. That was the link that brought us together. Yeah. And from that day onwards, I recognized that personal branding is such an important part of our life. And so I went on, I built a fabulous career. I had a big sales team. We ditched our job descriptions, and I converted every one of my salespeople into individual brands. And my shoes became my signature, my brand signature. And I really invested in shoes because I was in a very senior position. 99% of the decision makers I dealt with were men. And so they all had executive assistants who would walk into the meeting room, and the first thing they would do is, I love your shoes. So it was a strategy to get the attention onto me, so that it just broke the ice, if you will, right?
Yep.
And anyway, so I then started my own business in 2005. I had a software company for 7 years, and I resigned from my own company, Michael. I built it into a multi-7-figure business, and I recognized, like literally 3 hours after my son was born, that I am in the wrong job. I'm doing the wrong vocation. This is so not me. I learned a lot because I'm a systems person, as I said. So software was the right kind of environment, but that was not for me. I needed more. And in 2012, I took a 12-month sabbatical. I had two amazing mentors, one a professor in philosophy, the other in the emotional body. I went to Quantum University to understand the body, the mind, the soul. And in that 12-month period, I started to unpack my genius zone. Like, what can I do with ease and grace? What can I do with my eyes closed? And I didn't realize, Michael, but I actually created an entire methodology around personal branding back then, thinking that this is what everybody else does, but actually nobody else did it the way I did it. And so I understood how to create ecstatic brand experiences. I understand how to build systems. And also I understood sales. So when I was able to merge the things that I can do with ease and grace, here I am today, Michael, from 2015 till 2023, living my vocation based on the things that I can do with ease and grace. And I get to help industry experts do exactly the same.
I love that whole story. I love the boots. I love with ease and grace.
Yes.
That is so good. You don't know this about me because we just met, but my audience knows this about me. I only do 4 things well. I only do 4 things with ease and grace. I'm wicked good at these 4 things. But outside of these 4 things, I am mediocre at best. So I've built a team around. So I get ease and grace, girl. This is awesome. You hit so many things, okay, that we're just going to stop and pause and back up. The boots.
Yes.
You showed up authentically. It was you, right?
Yes.
I tell my clients all the time, I got to know you. What's your story? So many times in business and marketing, we're always thinking about our target audience. What are their pains? And that's important. But when I show up, if it's not me, they're choosing me. Is that what you find?
100%. And I think that you've hit a very important point. The brand story is the connector, if you will. It's what makes you believable and trustable. And I think that you're absolutely right. People forget this. Think about it. How many people become coaches because they just want to become a coach because it's the in thing to do? But the problem is, what happens, Michael, is that they're becoming coaches based on buying a life coaching certification course, and their life is in disarray. Like they're in complete chaos. Now, could you imagine, working with the life coach whose story doesn't match what it is that they do as a vocation? Now, if you're going to be a life coach, I want the juice. I want to know that you were destitute. I want to know you had a near-death experience. I want to know everything about your life story, because that's going to make me believe you and trust you. Whereas if you say to me, hey, I just went and bought a $99 life coaching certificate, and your life is in chaos, how is it that I can get you to coach me? Do you see what I'm saying? So the brand story is the epicenter. It's the heart of your brand.
Yes. The 2 words that just came out of that is be genuine. So I have a phrase. One of the phrases I use all the time is, Mary, people are going to buy you more than what you do.
100%.
And that comes down to this brand story. So how do you work with people? How do business owners go from all the marketing stuff that they are learning from everybody, right, which doesn't deal with brand? How do they start pulling back and thinking differently about this concept? Because you and I are somewhat unique in that we get it and we can see it in other people.
Yep.
Business owners, many times they can't. So how do you help them?
Well, I think the first step is, Michael, and you're absolutely right. To me, the marketing, the advertising, the lead generation, that's the effect of all of the cause. And the branding is the cause, because you have to start and build your foundation, which is why I always challenge people when they say, I can help you build your personal brand. what are you actually building? I can't build my personal brand. My brand advocates build my brand. My clients build my brand. The people that follow me on social media, the ones that really, really love me or like to, listen to my content, they're the ones that are building my brand. I'm not building my brand. I'm just defining who I am as a brand. That's all I'm doing. That's all I can do. And what I love to do when I'm working with people is I always look at their entire inventory, which is made up of their knowledge, their wisdom, their skills, their gifts, their talents, their core values, and how is it, and what type of persona are they, and how do we get to the point of creating this human being into a persona, made up with all of those attributes, but also colors and fonts and visuals, so that people can feel me rather than just read about me, because we have to bring that emotional aspect into the mix as well. And in that also, within the branding falls the people I want to serve. We need to understand, where are they in the buying cycle, so I can start a conversation with them specifically where they're at on the buying cycle. And then it's understanding, with all of that inventory based on my professional and personal experience, how do I organize that information into a premium solution that is 100% outcome and results driven? And these are two very important words I just said. It has to be outcome and results driven, because too many people are just pushing content that they're probably generating from an AI machine rather than supporting it with frameworks. You see what I'm saying? So we've got to go through that experience. And the third thing is that we have to also understand how to create digital assets that do genuinely create ecstatic brand experiences. Why? Because I want you to remember my brand. Whether you buy from me or not is not important. It's, have I remained top of mind? That's what's important. How many times have you, Michael, or I spoken to a person today, a prospect, and they haven't bought from us, but they come back 12 months later and they say, I just can't get you out of my head, right? Yeah, absolutely. And then the lead generation should be the effect of all of that. Yes. That's why for us, lead generation is so easy, because I'm not pushing, I'm pulling. Very different strategy. Absolutely. You have become an electromagnet to your ideal audience, because they want you and all that you represent. And that's personal branding, because most people don't do that. Hi, I'm a financial advisor. Hi, I'm an attorney. And look at all my degrees. Who cares? Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yes. And I love how you said that it helps your lead generation, because that's the number one myth that I hear in business is, I need more leads. I need more leads. It's like, no, you need a better brand. Right? You're right. Because once you get that brand, then you proliferate that in all of your marketing. Everywhere you go, you show up in red rattlesnake boots, right? In a sense, right? Yep. Yes, exactly right. And the thing is that, sometimes people say to me, I just want to generate leads. And I'll say, well, the biggest chunk of intelligence that you need in your business is actually defining who you are as a brand. You also need to, but your audience don't even know what it is that you do. They don't even know who it is that you serve. And they absolutely have no idea what it is that you promise. Until you've defined those three elements, you ain't going anywhere. That's right. Yeah. You're fighting the battle that everybody else is fighting. Yes. And you're looking to them for counsel. It's like, no, you are. You're right. Pull back. Right. And I loved what you were talking about earlier in personal branding, because as we work with our clients and create titles for books and some branding and things around that, not nearly what you do, but I tell everyone, I'm gonna say, I do not create your brand. I discover it through conversations and questions that I ask you. If you bring it to the table, I just happen to have this palette that says, this is it, right? And it sounds like that's what you do as well. Well, that's exactly right. Because the thing is, that's why I'm so completely against this idea of building your brand. Who am I to build my brand? It's the outside world that are actually building my brand. My job is to show up authentically. My job is to actually make sure that the people that I speak to, or the people that listen to my content, consume my content, that they are clear about what I do. They're clear about what I can promise because of the consistency. And one more key word, the congruency between my brand and what it is that I do and what it is that I promise. If there's a disconnect there, your brand ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, I love it. Clear, consistent, congruent. Three great words. So I run by three words as well. It's clarify, simplify, multiply. So you clarify your personal brand, your message to the world. You simplify your marketing because now you have a message to deliver that makes it more easy. And then you multiply your business because you have these two in place. Most people I just want multiplication. It's like, well, good. Let's go through the process, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about the process that you have. How do you work with people? Yeah,
well, I think it's that the process is actually quite simple, but complex, in that, we do start with unpacking all of that inventory, those attributes, which takes a while, Michael. I think that's part of that's a bottleneck, I think, for a lot of people. They show up and they decide on a color red, get some font made on Fiverr, and suddenly, I'm a brand. But it's not like that. And the reason it's not like that is because we have to, as business owners, if we're serious about commercializing our business and we're out of hobby mode and hustler mode, but we are really genuinely wanting to scale and start a real business, well, we have to think like a CEO to start with. I think that's fair. Otherwise, you start thinking like a hustler and a hobby, and it's boring. And as you said before, you get lost in the mix. For me, it really is about unpacking all of those attributes first and foremost. Building the foundation of the house is critical. If you don't know who you are as a brand, if you don't know who you are serving, and if you don't know what it is that you can do, then you can't even move to the next stage, which is the systemization of all of the things that you can do with ease and grace. And that incorporates your gifts, your talents, your passions, the things that you do outside of your professional career. But it's merging all of that together. It's the skills, it's the wisdom, it's the knowledge, it's the gifts, the talents, and the core values. And we have to look at that as inventory, which is exactly what I do. So I'm very good at organizing data. That's one of my genius zones. So I can organize information and create signature solutions or programs or methodologies so that when the client actually goes through that journey with me, there's a starting point and there's an end point. But in between all of those points, Michael, and this is critical, there is an outcome, there is a result, but there's one more key thing, a transformation. There has to be micro transformations the entire journey of working with you or with me. Otherwise, I lose momentum and motivation. And also, our goal as brands and business owners is one thing. It's not the sale. It's to convert every person that touches your brand, clients, prospects, and followers on social media into brand advocates. This is very important because when you have brand advocates out there, you have soldiers out there, believe me, they're going to be talking about you to 5-10 other people all the time. Yep. And so once we've organized the information and we've systemized that, and this is a very important word, system, because systems allow for input, output, and one very important ingredient, and that is a feedback loop. If you don't have a feedback loop, how do you define and refine your lead generation strategy, for example? You can't. So then we move into building all the digital assets, from the website to the learning management system, to the lead magnets, the sales funnels. Anything that touches a human has to be an ecstatic brand experience, in my view. And then the lead generation strategy in the way that we do it is the layered. Very important. So we're not putting all of our eggs in one basket. We're not just on Facebook and we're not just on LinkedIn. We've got layers in our lead generation strategy of how we reach our audience so that our target audience believe that we are omnipresent because we hang out where they are. I don't want to reach 8 billion people, Michael. I have no interest in that. I just want to touch the people that have been assigned to me. That's it. And I know where they hang out. So I want to be in front of them. I want them to hear me, and I want to give them value. I want to teach them, educate them, inspire them, move them towards their destination. And there's one other part that I've merged in my process, Michael, which a lot of people leave out, because you can become a brand, you can convert your genius into a solution, you can have a lead generation. But if you don't embody that version of you and have the capacity to self-actualize your potential, then you are never going to convert all of that beautiful work that you've done into a 6 and 7 figure outcome, which is ultimately what all of us want. We want to build a successful, healthy business, but you've got to become it, Michael. And this is where a lot of people just, they do the implementation. It's like, I'm here, I'm here. Can't you see me? Whereas what I'm saying is everyone can see you, but you got to see yourself. And, you've got to embody that person that you've become and have the will and the desire to become it, so that you can continue to have momentum and also tap into your own inner aspirations and work from that energy field, rather than tapping into the outside world and relying on that energy field.
Wow. That last point there, I hope everybody heard that. Go back, rewind, whatever, and listen to that, because that is so important. Because when you're there and you're living it, you're authentic. So I'll tell you this, my audience knows this, but a number of years ago, I didn't do any video because I don't have this wonderful studio. I don't have the right lighting. And I always thought I had to show up the way I thought my audience wanted me to show up. Right. And so I would not do video, and I didn't have my scripts, and it was just terrible. And finally, I don't know what happened, but finally one day I just went, I'm going to do video like Michael. I'm going to show up like this. And if you don't like Michael, fine, go away, because we're not going to do anything together anyway. But if you like this, then let's talk, because this is me. This is what you get. And you know what it did? I walk into my office every day. I'm ready to go, because I don't have to pose. I don't have to pretend to do anything. And I sell high ticket items with a t-shirt on. Who cares? If you're buying me for my t-shirt, something's wrong.
Exactly.
It's being authentic and genuine and living it out. And then from the CEO perspective, we just started our 11th year in business. We're a family-owned company. I've got a 50-year vision for my company, because my son is my COO. He's going to take the business over someday. His kids are going to, right? It's that CEO vision of, this is who we are as a company. This is our DNA. This is our brand. Am I barking up the wrong tree here? Is that right?
100%. I mean, absolutely. And I think that, this is why it's important to have that CEO mindset, because when you look at a CEO, they're not saying, I can do everything. The CEO is saying, this is my genius zone. I'm really good at this, but I need a really amazing marketing director. I need an amazing finance director. So the CEO creates the ecosystem that's going to deliver the vision that the CEO has for the entire organization. It's not just for the CEO.
Right.
Sure, CEO might reap more rewards financially, and maybe even from a brand standpoint. But the reality is that we are building a business because we're creating generational wealth as well, Michael. And I think that it's okay to want that, So we've got to get out of this mindset of, I'm just too scared of, asking for money, or, putting that value on my solution. And we have to stop doing that as well. I spoke to a prospect yesterday, and he's like, oh my God, your fees. And I said he said, because what I need is X. And I said, you can't do X without Y, and Y is me. So, so good luck, So, and it's not about the financials. It's not about the investment that people make at all. Yeah. What it is that the people will pay anything. And you and I know that, if they can see the vision that you can deliver. Yes. If they can, this is why we have to, when we're building our solution, it has to be results driven, because Michael, when you can speak about your solution with conviction and you can show people how you can do it, it changes the whole game. And the brain doesn't go into fight or flight. The brain relaxes, because it's like, you know what? I'm okay. I feel safe with this person. They're actually showing me a way toward that goal, in the fastest way based on their genius zone, which I don't have. So the thing is that we've got to be able to have that big vision, be realistic, but most importantly, to meet that vision, we have to have a solution that can deliver transformation and results.
Yeah, absolutely. And having the authenticity that when you find a prospect that you can't help for whatever reason, you tell them that. You say, I'm
Yes,
not a good fit. That's okay. But you
100%.
know what? I know, Mary, I'm not a good fit for us, but I've got somebody over here I'd love to introduce you to because they might be able to help you. Let's do that. And
Yep.
totally okay with that.
Yeah. I'm like that too. I'm
Yeah.
exactly the same because if I serve the wrong person, that client becomes extremely needy, has unrealistic expectations, and quite frankly, they actually become the client from hell. And I don't have those type of clients in my ecosystem, but it's true, Michael, because I don't want to. That's just wasted energy that I could be wasting somewhere else in the tribe that I can genuinely serve.
Absolutely.
And even Michael, just one step before that, it's even talking to prospects, when they book your strategy calls, my qualification process is actually quite deep and wide. And people say, oh my God, your qualification process is so intense. Yes, it's intense because I want to make sure that the people I speak to are the right people. So if that scares you, you're not the right person. And I'm okay with that. And I think we have to think like that.
100%. So good. And going back to your feedback loop, right? I've had I've had lots of calls this week with prospects, right? I had two in particular that I stopped after. I'm like, we need to go back and look at our pre-qualification funnel because they're getting through the cracks. Now, they weren't great for books. I got other coaching programs I might be able to help them with, but it was like, something's not right in my system. It's not them. It's going back to go, okay, where do we need to tweak something? And so, but it's that feedback loop, right?
Yes, 100%, Michael. Oh my God, yes. And that's exactly right. So if you're getting the wrong type of prospects on a call, something's wrong with the system. You're spot on. So you've got a feedback loop. All you need to do is make a couple of tweaks, which is what I do. And what happens, you squeeze out the tie kickers and you pull in the people who genuinely want to move forward. So what happens? The calls are different. The call's like, hey, I don't need you to sell to me. I already know I want to work with you. How much? That's basically the conversation.
Yeah. Those are much more fun conversations, aren't they? But it really it shortens the sales cycle. I don't do sales calls. I do conversations. And my closing question, Mary, when I've got a prospect is usually something like this. Mary, what would you like to do? Because by that time, we all know what the next step is, but I'm going to let you make that decision because you own it. And we run from there. So anyway,
I'm with you.
Oh my, we could talk for hours, Mary.
We could.
how you've got a lot to offer people, right? Where do they find, what are some low-hanging fruit things that you've got, and where do people find more about Mary?
Well, first thing is that if anyone does want to, have a conversation with me, I do offer a 45-minute free coaching call, and you can get that on maryhendersoncoaching.com/apply. So there's that. You'll just go to my website, maryhendersoncoaching.com, and there is a lot of free resources on my website, on my homepage, lots of masterclasses, and you can knock yourself out quite literally. There's so much there. And please follow me on LinkedIn. I have a very big following on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. You can connect with me on my Facebook personal page, which is Mary Henderson Coaching, or Instagram, Mary Henderson Coaching.
Okay. Did you hear that, folks? The consistency of what you just said. Everything was Mary Henderson Coaching. Okay. If I leave here, I've got the brand in my head, Mary Henderson Coaching. I bet if I Google Mary Henderson Coaching, you're going to come up, right? That, folks, is great personal branding. It's simple, it's consistent, and you can do the same thing. But if you have trouble, reach out to Mary Henderson at maryhendersoncoaching.com. Find her everywhere. But Mary, this has been an amazing conversation. I know we could go on and on because we just speak the same language and we both have the same passions. And I love how genuine you are when you show up. I appreciate that. Thank you,
Michael. Michael, thank you for having me. It's been an absolute honor to meet you and have this conversation with you. I appreciate it very much.
You are so welcome. It's been my joy, Mary. Take care, everybody. Reach out to Mary, MaryHendersonCoaching.com, and tune again next time for Experts Speak.